I made it my mission to accept the fact that I was not qualified.
Yeah.
And I didn't have the time to give it what it needed. And that I had this perfectly capable, incredible person to delegate this to, that I needed to be okay, first of all, with the concept of delegating. So that was the thing. And then also just letting go, like I had to just let go.
Yeah.
Of holding so tightly onto everything. And, we hold tight onto these things because we care, right? We love it. We care, and we think that if we squeeze harder, that it will stay together.
Yep.
You got to let go.
Yeah.
You got to let go, and you have to delegate to the people who know what they're doing. And if you delegate to the people who know what they're doing, then they will feed your program with knowledge, with love, with support. And everybody feels it.
Yep. Absolutely.
I remember that before you had come to us, you had spent a lot of time doing summer training because you were in school. Yep. So you were training gymnasts at USGTC, and I know you're working with Svetlana, and so a lot of skill building. And so I remember, after that summer was over and we got into the meet season, you were like baffled as to why these kids all of a sudden just miraculously couldn't throw skills. Why is it that we worked all summer on this shoot over and now we can't get it in the routine? Why can't we get it in the routine? Well, because they're back in school now, and the boyfriend and the stress from the parents, and we're missing practices because we need to learn how to plan our time, and we're going to study and all these things. And I remember you being so frustrated, feeling like that summer work was wasted, or that it just kind of went nowhere. When really it was like, no, this is just
how it goes.
This is kind of how it goes. And I would say education. Yep. And like you said, it was education everywhere. It was, let's help the gymnasts understand why we're doing these drills.
Yes.
So, and that was a big one because they just wanted to come into the gym and flip and twist. And so they felt like doing drills was going backwards. That was the mentality. And so we had to really break that mentality to help them understand that actually doing these drills is helping you move forward. So just because you're not flipping and twisting and dismounting, it's like there's a process to learning how to do that more efficiently and to perfect those pieces. And we're not going to just keep staring at you, giving you the same correction over and over again. Yep. We're going to take this skill and break it out into its smaller pieces. And we're going to train each piece by drilling each piece. When we master the drill, we can take that piece that we've mastered and put it back into the skill. And now miraculously it's easier, and they're standing it up or they're making it work. And so, but we had to be successful doing that a few times before the kids could really kind of get on board. Like once they saw it work a few times, then it was like reinforcing the process. And we kept saying things like, trust your training, trust the process, hate me now, love me later. That was one of my favorites. We were tired. We were unfocused. It was like we were already kind of dealing with everything else that felt so hard and being so tragically heartbroken when all these abuse scandals came to light. And just thinking about the survivors and what they have been through, it still is, it's just devastating. And I think it has been, exhausting. It's just been exhausting. It's been really, and then, feeling like powerless, like I know you and I were both in this space where it was like, we just want to, like, what can we do? We want to do something, we want to change something. How do we save this world right now? And so, everything just got kind of fuzzy and jumbled, and we were kind of like ping pong balls, just kind of bouncing all over the place, trying to figure it out. And we kind of lost our moral compass for a second. And I have to credit Miss Val because I'm her number one fan. I know she has a lot of fans, but her book came out, and I actually listened to it because I was in a time in my life where I couldn't really sit down and read with a 1-year-old baby. So I was listening to her book in transit, and I'm glad I listened to it because her voice is so powerful and inspiring. And I just, listening to her helped me kind of realize that our moral compass was a little bit off, and that we needed to take a breath and reevaluate and drop the anchor again and go, okay, hold on, let's go back to our roots here. Let's refocus. Let's go back to the core of what we do.
So I work with 3 other coaches. We sit down with our, 7 to 20 gymnasts that we have on our optional levels. And we just ask openly what went well, what didn't go well. What do you want to see changed? What are we doing good, bad? And it's not a trash fest. Some people really say like things they really enjoyed. This was better. Let's keep doing this. Like some of them being like, we love the strength is really hard and the practices are really hard, but we love them because we're a group together and seeing progress. And I'm getting new releases or I'm getting a new beam series. And so we do that every year. And then you and I have a 4-hour sit down with a top of the bird's eye view. But then you also host a coaches meeting where we all have this like, just lay it to me straight. Tell me good, bad, ugly. And it's usually followed by some extracurricular activities so we can debrief and enjoy each other's company socially. But we have a really hard meeting. And I think
there are tough decisions to be made or tough situations to move through, that we come back to those core values. Why are we here? What are we doing? Yeah. And if you come back to those core foundational pieces, that are who you are as a person, are who you are as a program, then all of a sudden it's not so hard to make a decision, at least.
Yep.
Maybe taking action on the decision is difficult, but at least that the decision is coming from the right place. As a coach, it's really hard to separate yourself from what the gymnast is capable of and what you want for her or him, and what they think they're capable of and what they want themselves. And so finding that distinction, or even being able to identify them as the same or different, is a good step in helping to stay on the same page with your gymnast. I think that how many times have we pushed because we know she is so talented and she's so capable and she's so coachable, and then all of a sudden she starts to grumble and she starts not showing up, and then she's in tears at practice because we moved the chalk bucket, like just something so silly. And it's like, what's happening? What's happening all of a sudden? Like, what happened here? And
so well, what happened?
And then come to find out, it's, she's feeling the pressure, and she's feeling pressure because we, our goals for her are so different than her own goals for herself.
Has changed for us, and which I think made a lot of the coaches happier and much of the gymnasts happier. Is one is we clearly identified our priority filter, which is number one, health. Number two, build great humans. Number three, build great gymnasts. In that order, all the time, no matter what, right? And I think we sometimes flip those numbers around if we were being, not intentionally, but we just lost track of our moral compass, like you said. So we now make every decision through that lens, and we try to teach the coaches and the parents and the kids to make that decision that way. Is this best for my health? Okay, does this involve you being a good human? And then now, does this involve me becoming a great gymnast? So that's number one. Two is we built our stoplight system for skill move-ups, which I think is in short term, and another podcast, we can dive into this, but essentially, instead of just subjectively weighing if somebody was ready to move to the next level or not, we made a very, line in the sand criteria about here are the level requirements for level 8, level 9, level 10. And here's green light is we've seen you do this 5 times consistently on multiple days and you're ready to go for these skills, these requirements. Yellow light is like you need a spot or it's on a soft mat. It's not quite ready, but you're getting there. And then red light is like, we need more work on this. It still has some room to go. And it's not without a spot independently on multiple days.
If safety first is non-negotiable, which it should always be. These smaller decisions feed into that bigger picture. And you build culture and loyalty. Every time you stick to your guns and you stand behind your word, not only is it impacting the athlete that it relates to in that moment, but all of her or his teammates are watching, right? And so now you're reinforcing it for everyone else on the team.
Yep.
So if we say, okay, you have to throw your 7 to hard before you can compete in front of a judge, and we're letting someone get off with 5,
right?
You better believe the rest of the team knows.
And we had against us. Remember that? We used to have kids who'd be like, well, Sarah's, I'm not using Sarah as a real example.
Well,
like
Susie Salto gets to do it.
5, let her compete. Oh God, I knew it. I'd done that.
And they don't miss a thing. So, but every time they see that you're consistently following through with the policies that have been put in place, whether it applies to them or not, it builds puts another block of respect on the tower.
Girls wrote me and Mel, the other coach I coach with, a letter that was like a 1.5 pages long, and it outlined all of the things that they were worried about for us that we were doing because we were so stressed out and we were so overwhelmed and we were bringing our own personal life into the gym in terms of not dumping our problems on them, but we were really frustrated with them. And like, they could see that we were bubbling at the cracks with our own personal frustration with the situation in the gymnastics world, but also that they felt as though we were starting to play favorites. They felt that we were getting mad at them for no reasons. They felt we were attacking them as humans and not as people. Like, we were starting to slide back downhill into like that dictatorship type coaching that I am so disgusted with myself that I ever had that to begin with. But we have entered a period now where we really wanted to become something that was so gold standard for what we believe in, what makes the coaches happy, the parents happy. And I think after 5 years, we're finally to somewhere we're really proud of. But I think the biggest thing we did was really have like the most uncomfortable, painful conversations with each other, with ourselves.
I was reminded that the work we had done up to that point was worth it.
Yes.
Because they felt like they had enough of a voice to write a letter and actually give it to us. And then they even came to practice that night too. They didn't even avoid.
Yeah, it wasn't like an email.